and salutations. Oh, I just woke up. Last night I had two Mike's Hard Lemonade, and I don't. They're really good. Like commercials they have with the when they're at the barbecue party, and the guy he's like, oh, whose last Mike's is this? And the lady says, oh, it's Mike, and he looks over and it's Mike Tyson, and his voice gets all high. He's like, and he puts it right back. It's a great commercial. Great commercial. But yeah, I tried two of them last night. Um, the so what me and Tesling have been working on. I moved over to back over to 6155 official server. You know, the problem, just kind of a little prerequisite. The problem I have with I enjoy the full PvP experience. The problem is the offline rating, and I've done several videos about this in the past that uh, if there's not enough systems in place to defend your structures. I can build a ultra palace a fortress, with 12 wall thick, double lined walls, and a cumulative of like 135,000 experience worth of hit points on all those building pieces. And some D-bag can go in there in like 15 minutes and blow their way through it. So the amount of time that it takes them to farm the materials, the amount of time that it takes me to build the materials, the ratio is like 10 to 1. There's not enough traps, there's not enough building pieces that will fortify that stuff. And there's offline rating. So me who has a career, right? Um, Unfortunately, I can't, there's times I have to step away. And, and because of that, every time I come back, you're completely rated out. So you don't even have a chance to defend yourself. So until they come up with offline rating options like was it Oasis, or they come up with more defensive systems, it's just not worth playing on a full PvP server. So I think the best solution is really playing on the conflict server. So you get that PvP experience, but you've eliminated all the assery out of your life. Just come like logging on every day and just being completely cleaned out. I think that's the best solution until they bring the game around. So so me and Tesling, we've kind of we've been we used to play together quite a bit, and then he stopped playing because they were having some, Conan kind of fell apart a little bit for the last year. But just to kind of give some context, because they put both maps down here in the south instead of putting this one, they really should have tied this one to this. They should have had this be an offshoot over here, because the biodome is very similar to this right here. When you run around here, it gives this vibe. So, this would match up very nicely with this right here. And if they kept this one and then just tie, put had this H right here, tie in right here, it would have split the map east and west, and it would also have split the map north and south. Because the problem is you get a higher density of players that really either exist right here along this ridge or down here, and nobody really lives up here anymore at the top of the map. You get one or two old bases that have been around, but for the most part, everybody's kind of culminated right around in here, and like right around in here. And then mainly you're seeing a lot of bases pop up, in these areas down here at the bottom. So the vast majority, because the meta is now the fountains and the thralls that exist in these camps around the bottom. And a couple, there's a camp over here, and there's a really good camp up here at the top, and there's another really good camp way back up here. But if you build up here and you're putting thralls, well, your only other options are the statues that I mean, not statues, the fragments of power that you get from the 5 bosses here, or the four bosses that are here, and you can farm Eldoranian out of the dungeon. So and I've talked about this in some of my other videos. They really need to implement the figurines into some of these other locations. So that way, it'll there's a secondary reason to go up here, like, oh, maybe I'll find a figurine while I wander out and clear all these bosses out of here, and then migrate up here. And I was like, oh, I found a figurine here, and then it drives the meta to travel down here and do the fountain, because the fountain is the big Kahuna. It is the big um kind of the in game thing now. And so just for some kind of to summarize, I put a little base right here. And the reason why is because when I started up, everything had been decayed. Because the shitty ass 7 days decay timer, especially on a PVE server, it should be 12 days, but there's a bunch of iron that's around these two little elevated platforms. Plus, it's centralized enough to where I can go get the fountains, I can go get the first min, I can run up here, I can get the some of these bottom vaults. So it's okay. I initially wanted to kind of build something up here so I could tag team the harbor of the Twin Drown, and then go get these two camps right here, and then kind of migrate up here and get some of these. But I am probably going to have to build a secondary structure, just a wheel, and maybe um, to get some of the guys out of the Lay shines, lay shines. Okay, but that's where I'm at on that. And then so I got into single player mode, and I built a kind of to build all the geometry, get everything worked out, and kind of figure out the shapes. And so I wanted to build the foundation first and then put down the wheel. And when I snapped the wheel, for whatever, it's driving me insane, but for whatever reason I can't put that tile in there, and I can't put the tile in there. And so I'm gonna have to delete the wheel and then put those tiles in. But I wanted to what I wanted to do is do the 5x5 foundation, because that's the minimum size that you can put a wheel. So that way it forced the center of putting the wheel inside the structure. And I'll show you real quick what the grand plan is going to be. And me and Tesla worked on this probably 3 hours. uh we worked on this for like 3 hours in single player mode, kind of get into admin options, just to see what different textures, different tile styles, different let me see, Siptah, select, location, because sometimes if there's a location you want to build, you should go there first in single player mode, and then just build and see if you run into any issues with like foundation pieces or elevation, or because there's times in the past I've tried to build somewhere and it wasn't doable. There might be a big boulder there might be some underground meshing issue. So, man, I okay, so here we go. And I kind of built this in a way. Let me get an admin panel because I got to fly. Settings, make admin. Okay, admin panel. Fly, God mode. And also noon, freeze time, right? You can go dusk, noon, right? So that way it's just easier to see. Okay. So the first one I built was this one. I really was kind of going for like like a slave, or not a slave, a thrall experience, and I wanted something that was easy to get to. I don't like my wheels up high. I like them low to where I can get to them and not have to run up a bunch of flights of stairs or go through a bunch of elevators. So this was the first design, trying to get the geometry right and figure out how to close it up. Because here's the same island right here, and I was trying to get this wheel in here, but the issue I was having, I couldn't get the big wheel, so I could get the smaller wheel. And there's kind of a pentagon and a circle foundation. Like the bottom's a circle and the top's a pentagon. And I was trying to see if I could put some of these larger benches in this tower design and still get it to work. And um, I was just kind of getting some of those geometries figured out, and the reason why it's not closed together is it's just kind of a work in progress. And so the second one was the Pentagon, where it's got the five sides, and then with the elevators, and then the four doors, because I wanted to have the big gates at the bottom so you could just get around. And and then what I was doing was is I was adding the horse stables in between, like the kind of give it more of that industrial kind of look. And so I really liked how that turned out. I also like how you can see through the the lattice work. I really would like for them to come up with a steel version of this, like, so how they have this gate right here, so they'd have basically the entire wall be just like this, the banded, maybe side to side banding, but just like this. And then, so this was the kind of the final. I was playing around instead of going a circle, I was playing around with this, and so you can kind of see this is what it looks like. Um, and so it's a 7 by 7 bottom, and you still have the gates, you still have the tower in the middle, but I was able to get the stairs worked out so you could run up the stairs, because when you have thralls and stuff, sometimes you really don't want to be messing around with elevators. So you can run up here, and then you're in the main room, and so the idea is this is like you can build in layers. So you build this one first, and then if you need more room, then you just add a staircase, and then you like boom, and then you have another room. And if you need another room, then you can build up and then up, and you can just like layers of a cake. You can just keep adding as you need. And trying to make it really rustic, I was using the stable floors, and I added some elevators, kind of a reason to use the new fast elevators when I get them. So I wanted to incorporate elevators just to partake in that experience. And I made kind of this an asymmetrical, so there's two doors on this side, one door on this side. With the lattice work, there's two on this side, one on this side. And you know um, kind of messing around with some colors and textures. Those are the new Twitch lights that you get from doing the Twitch drops. So I incorporated those into it, kind of little asymmetrical style, where two down low, two up high, and then same thing, two up high, one down low. And I think with here I'll put some, was it braziers? I'll put some of those, the big, out here. I'll put some of those out here, or maybe right here when it gets done. Kind of really, really working out some of the details. I would like to figure out how to block off these corners to where, instead of it being an exact cube, it was kind of like it's kind of. Let me see if I have any foundation pieces. Um, yeah, I got these, and I got right here. I would like to figure out, instead of doing a perfect square, I would like to do maybe more something like, this would be a perfect square. So maybe um, I would like to figure out how to see. You can't do the straight sideways, because if I could take the panel, I wonder if it's possible to do two of them. Uh, kind of make it two walls, to where it's because ideally I'd like to have it to where I'm really surprised actually that they don't have, to where I could get this wall, like, see, I can't make it sideways, but if I can kind of close the gap to where you can look at my little pointer, to where it goes from there to there, and there to there, and I could stack that wall like this, you know, like this and like this, and just have it be kind of block that off to where it's. But they don't have the they have this. Maybe if I get rid of this, let's see here. I get rid of this, and maybe, I kind of can get this, but then I'd have to that kind of gives me a block, but you see what I'm saying? It's like a 22-degree angle. It's not a 45-degree angle. If I could just close that in right there. They do need to add another block, a block tile. And then if I did everything with but ultimately I think that comes out as the same dimensions as that over there, to get that right. That doesn't um yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at. If I could get this worked out, the dimensions a little bit better, I'd like to kind of, instead of making this square, I'd like to get it more like this is too sharpy of an angle. This is like as close as you can get to, there's a pan. I think I like this better, but this is just so much more practical. It's just so much more functional and practical, and you get a lot more real estate for adding all the new what is it, workbenches and crafting centers, because all that stuff's super big. So let me go back to my single player experience. um Exit the main menu, yes. Oh, I'm starting to wake up, but that's really where I'm at. uh Play online, yes. I'm glad when they added when they you can see I have a presence on all these servers. I really like how when they have the new launcher, and if they have launch and continue, and if you hit continue, it just pulls you right into the server, and it skips all the intro videos. So this is the online, or the online server, player versus player conflict build. So this is where I'm at after going through. I know it's a huge contrast, but after going through and working out all the geometry and getting, so a 7x7 foundation. And so the end goal is to have it to where it looks like that other building that I showed you in single player admin, to get all the stuff worked out. And now me and Tesling have just kind of been piecing it together, and that's just going to sit over there on top of the little raised platform, and we'll put some little ramps that run down, so that way we can run thralls back easily. Because right now, what we've been doing is because a lot of it really falls into the challenge. And so me and Tesling built this little spiral uh one wheel thrall wheel up, and we were getting those taskmasters over at the boat over there, because there's like three little taskmasters, and we were dragging them over here, and we were running them up. And Tesling's like, why don't we just make an 8-man thrall instead of having like 8 taskmasters doing one thrall each? It's not efficient. I'm like, no, bro, we don't do it the right way. But yeah, so we can see we got these things they just corkscrew up, and we were like 5 high, and then once we built that, we've kind of been demoing this down as these guys finish off. There's Ulrich the Accursed. Yeah, and so now that that's done, I can get rid of this. I can get rid of this, and then who's this guy? Uh, yeah. So these two are done. Yep, 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 yep. Let me get rid of all of this. And so now, yeah. So we've just kind of been cleaning this up, and the idea is we're going to segue from this over to that as we get it built. That's kind of the idea. But as always, thanks for watching.